Good evening, Heart of Ohio sports fan, and welcome to the Friday Nightcap. Now that the Friday night lights are off, we can't wait to go over some of the scores, sights, and sounds from around the area here in the Seneca County area, Northwest Ohio football scene. And man, we're going to get into it here in a moment. But I'm Tommy Hall, the host of the Friday Nightcap. And again, you don't have to wait till after the news to get your football scores from around the area. We're going to be giving them to you live right here on the air. The react from the coverage area here in Heart of Ohio Sports as we have our finger on the pulse of all the games in week one of the 2026 campaign of football. And I couldn't think of anything better than to get into it. I want to thank Greg the Wizard Kin for joining me here in the Heart of Ohio Sports Command Center inside the heart of Studio Squared in Tiffin, Ohio. As again, Greg, we've been sitting here watching the action as it unfolds through all of our broadcasts here on Heart of Ohio Sports, but it's been a loaded week here on the network as we started the week one off with Thursday Night Lights as Tiffin Calvert kicked off their season over at Horniman Stadium on the heart of Heidelberg's campus to play Leipzig in week one, a regional qualifier from 1 year ago that was bounced by Columbus Grove with a young central core of skilled players that were just another year older, including a coach's kid and Mark Kirkendall, coach's son, Joe Kirkendall, as this Leipzig team, Greg, they really came in with their hair on fire as they stormed the beaches over there at Horniman Stadium against Calvert to kick off things for Thursday Night Lights.
Yeah, they certainly brought it over there last night, Tommy. And, like you said, a packed weekend here. Week one, high school football, as usual. We could have gone with just 2 games, but we love that Thursday night action that starts the things off. And then, we love to give our coverage area as much love as we can give. So we had to be over there for the Hopewell Loudon game tonight, as well as the Columbian game to start their home opener. So
absolutely. And if you're just tuning in, do us a favor, subscribe to our Facebook and our Instagram, all of our social media pages, especially our YouTube, as we bring this show to you live and paywall free each and every week through the season. So the way that you could do your part is by liking and subscribing, as again, 3 big blockbuster game in the area, along with Cooper Snyder on the scene over at Margaretta for that showdown between the Polar Bears and the Mohawk Warriors. We'll get into that in a moment as well. But again, 3 huge games on the adrenaline stream tonight. You were able to catch, oh man, it was almost a mirror image of a year ago as Tiffin Columbian hosted the Fremont Ross Little Giants from Frost Cownow Stadium with 2 new coaches at the helm, one being Coach Ryan Otney, the offensive coordinator from a year ago for the Tornadoes, and then Coach Winters over there for the Fremont Ross Little Giants, who is familiar with the area, been out of the coaching scene for a while, but it was a big name over in Whitmer, took the job after Chad Long left last year, and is really rounding himself out one heck of a club over there with the Fremont Ross Little Giants as they came over to Tiffin on that Battle of 53. Greg, you remember 1 year ago when we were on that call? How did that one end? It was a penalty inside the red zone that cost Fremont Ross. And then you fast forward to 1 year today, Greg, we were sitting here with our jaws on the studio floor as the end of that game unfolded.
Yeah, it's, like you said, just like repeating the past right there. And if you're not sure how that game ended last year, I tell you what, Tommy, that's the great thing about Heart of Ohio Sports. You can go back and watch any of our games. They're always archived on our YouTube channel. So
that's a great point, Greg. The Fremont Ross, they came into tonight. It was a battle back and forth for 48 minutes.
And so to say, it's been a battle between these 2 teams the last few years. So you talk about good games to go back and watch. That's one right there. No
love lost as that grim fairy tale for the Tornadoes ended as Fremont Ross was able to upend the Tornadoes by just 1 point, 22-21, as we get into that as well. But over on the extreme, Hopewell Loudon, who 1 year ago we departed with this team on our final broadcast of the 2025 campaign live from Tom Benson Stadium at the Hall of Fame Stadium for that state championship matchup, where Hopewell Loudon again has a bitter taste in their mouth, getting ready for the 2026 campaign. It doesn't get any easier for the Chieftains as they enter the N10 conference. And man, they had themselves a test against a bigger Lake team here tonight, as Dominic Helbstetter and Brendan Blott was on the call for that one, as Hopewell Loudon definitely showed that they were the team to still at the top of the mountain to contend with, especially after last year's state final loss. Greg?
Oh, absolutely, Tommy. And then to finish things off, like you said, we're going to have a recap, a couple videos here from Cooper over in Margaretta. So
Coop Scoops.
That's what we're trying to put that all together for you guys right now. Obviously, things don't work instantly. So, and then once again, folks, if you have any videos or highlights that you want to send in, now is the time to do so. If we get those in, it could possibly put them on the show. And then, if not tonight, next Friday night, same thing.
Yeah, we plan to flex some muscle, but as this is a live react, again, there's no safety net, folks. We're bringing you this live, and in the moment, we're getting the instant reaction. So you're not having to wait till midnight to get your football fill. We're going to come back in just a few moments to go over these recaps, show you some highlights. And again, we'll get you set for week 2 of the high school football season. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Friday Nightcap here on Heart of Ohio Sports.
More than just a game, this is Heart of Ohio Sports. Get to know the faces that bring you the best in sports, life, and everything in between. It's the Pulse Podcast. Every Monday at 7 o'clock on YouTube. Only on Heart of Ohio Sports.
At Heart of Ohio Sports, it's obvious. The first thing that comes to mind is sports. But we do a lot more than just cover live sporting events.
Go, go, go!
When we want to watch our highlights from last night's game, there's only one place we go: Heart of Ohio Sports.
We connect fans to the action like no one else can. As a business in today's market, you got to stay ahead of the game. And what better way than to get on board with the fastest growing brand in media today? I mean, you can take it from me, or you can just listen to them.
When recruiters want to see our game film, we tell them they can watch it on Heart of Ohio Sports.
Heart of Ohio Sports gives fans the access they want when they want it. And the athletes get the coverage they deserve. Our broadcasts are free, and they always will be. We don't hide behind a paywall.
When my family can't come to the games, they always watch on Heart of Ohio Sports.
Set your lineup with confidence. It's Fantasy Football Focus every Sunday morning at 10:30. Join John Sherman, Brandon Banks-Shearer, and Sean Cole as they break down starts, sits, and sleepers all across the league. Live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, only from Heart of Ohio Sports.
My stomach is messed up.
The game's almost over. Can't you wait?
No, I gotta go right now.
Wow, really?
Swung on, hit to center, well hit. Back, and this one's gone! A home run for Connor Moyer on an 0-2 pitch. Smokes it to dead center.
Oh man, are you kidding me?
It happens. Never miss a moment. Heart of Ohio Sports. Make sure to check out this week's edition of the Heart of Ohio Sports Observer by Josh Morgret on heartofohiosports.com.
And welcome back to Heart of Ohio Sports and the Friday Nightcap here on Heart of Ohio Sports, going over all the sights and sounds from around the area. As again, we had 3 huge games here on Heart of Ohio Sports on the Adrenaline and Extreme. And then we also had Cooper Snyder on location over in Margaretta for that huge matchup between the Polar Bears and Mohawk Warriors live from the Duck Pond. But before that, let's take a trip back. If you missed some things, again, Thursday night actually started the high school football season around the state here in Ohio, and we were on location for our hometown team, the Tiffin Calvert Senecas, as they were taking on the Leipzig Vikings, regional qualifier from a year ago, coming over to Tiffin to take their frustrations out and make a statement in week 1 against the Calvert Senecas over there at Horniman Stadium. And Greg, we're going to get into that right now.
1 second here. I'm pulling up the videos. And should work.
Looking, got a man, middle of the field, wide open. Marquise Williams,
First
another
quarter,
10. Kirkendall back to pass, blitz is on. Lucius had the pressure, but he gets it away to Marquise Williams.
Start things off.
Nice block on the edge there. Williams puts a move on the defender, cuts it back across the field, and he is gone.
With the run,
this is going to be the handoff.
Looking to pass. And then third time is a charm, Greg, as in the ensuing possession, Calvert would turn it over 82 yards by Williams for his 3rd touchdown just in that quarter alone. Go over to quarter 2 at the lip of a cup. A 25-yard reception by Colin Neese got Calvert crying uncle as the Leipzig Vikings go up 27-3. That second half running clock would become the enemy of the Calvert Senecas, as they're just unable to overcome just the onslaught by the Leipzig Vikings and some of those skilled positions, as Leipzig wins that one 43-3. All right, let's go over to the extreme. Or let's go over to the adrenaline stream from tonight, as Nate Mullins was on location for the first call with legendary coach Steve Gilbert. Let's get into that one, as Tiffin Columbian. This one was a slugfest to start things out. But second quarter, fireworks start to go off as Logan Goody, 42-yard bomb to Miller, and it's Miller time as Tiffin Columbian goes up 7-0. Second quarter though, immediate grab by Mason England, the 6'4" receiver from Garza, gets Fremont on the board and tied up, but the missed extra point. Second quarter, tornado fumble leads to a 1-yard rush by Garza from the goal to end the half, bringing us to the third quarter, where again, Fremont Ross takes the lead with a field goal. And in the fourth, 26-yard pass from Gooding to Egbert get the Tornadoes back in this one, but as much as love as Tiffin Columbian was in, it was quickly spoiled as an 87-yard return by Zacharias Burrell got the Fremont Ross Little Giants back up by 22-21. Throughout that last 4 minutes of that fourth quarter, Fremont was able to hold off the Tornadoes after a goal line stand by the Fremont Ross Little Giants. Tiffin Columbian looked like they were on the cusp of getting that one in, but a penalty, just like a year ago, dashes the dreams of the Tiffin Columbian Tornadoes as Tiffin Columbian would turn the ball over. Fremont holds on 22-21 at Frost County Stadium. Now we'll go over to the extreme as Brendan Blott and Dominic Helmstetter, all the action from the state finalists Hopewell Loudon from a year ago, entering the N10 this year, but a non-conference matchup against a huge Lake team from Division 4. I mean, this one got out of hand pretty quick, Greg. As we see from the goal.
Yeah, I only caught bits and pieces of that one, but I was like, woof.
Yeah. From the goal, Brody Brickman from 2 yards out at the 7-minute mark would finally get the Hopewell Loudon Chieftains on the board. Right side, Frankert, right after that touchdown, extends the lead. And then you'll see here in the second quarter, Kellen Frankert from inside the 5 gets Hopewell Loudon out to extend that lead. Then we'll go over to the third quarter. Jacoby Ellis to Brickman connects with Brickman 37-6 with the running clock as we go into that, wind down that second half. Chieftains will go on to win it 49-13.
And we're going to take a look here at some of the clips that were sent to us from Cooper Snyder, who was on his game here tonight.
Yeah, let's go over to the duck pond where the polar bears actually play for some reason. Over in Margaretta, Mohawk. Margaretta was leading the entire game. Mohawk looked like the much better team up front, but just a little bit sloppy in week one. Those week one jitters getting to the Warriors. Margaretta didn't make as many mental mistakes and had more big plays than this one, Greg. Mohawk getting a little gas towards the end of this one as the onslaught by those polar bears just weared on the Warriors throughout this 48 minutes. But here's the big thing that stood out in this one, Greg. Andon Klaus really changed the tempo and all in both directions as Andon Klaus 2 picks and also had 2 picks. So, again, a net 0 on that, but really changed the complexion of this one along with Caden Bish being out in this one. Mohawk Warriors seemingly losing some of their stalwart players as big plays got the Margaretta Polar Bears out 30-20, able to dispatch the Mohawk Warriors live from the duck pond.
Coach Pajali picking up his first win with those polar bears.
And that's one of those things is Coach Pajali picking up that program from where they left off. It was not an enviable task, but again, especially playing Coach Eric Daniel on coming over to your home stadium against the Mohawk Warrior team. Impressive debut for the young coach, but also Mohawk Warriors needed to learn from these week one mistakes.
Well, I tell you what, Tommy, we've just gone through all the highlights that we had loaded up, and we'll step to a commercial again, and we'll come back. We'll have Nate join you to finish recapping things.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Friday Nightcap on Heart of Ohio Sports.
More than just a game, this is Heart of Ohio Sports. Get to know the faces that bring you the best in sports, life, and everything in between. It's the Pulse Podcast. Every Monday at 7 o'clock on YouTube. Only on Heart of Ohio Sports.
At Heart of Ohio Sports, it's obvious. The first thing that comes to mind is sports. But we do a lot more than just cover live sporting events.
Go, go, go!
When we want to watch our highlights from last night's game, there's only one place we go. Heart of Ohio Sports.
We connect fans to the action like no one else can. As a business in today's market, you got to stay ahead of the game. And what better way than to get on board with the fastest growing brand in media today? I mean, you can take it from me, or you can just listen to them.
When recruiters want to see our game film, we tell them they can watch on Heart of Ohio Sports.
Heart of Ohio Sports gives fans the access they want when they want it. And the athletes get the coverage they deserve. Our broadcasts are free, and they always will be. We don't hide behind a paywall.
When my family can't come to the games, they always watch on Heart of Ohio Sports.
Set your lineup with confidence. It's Fantasy Football Focus every Sunday morning at 10:30. Join John Sherman, Brandon Banks-Shearer, and Sean Cole as they break down starts, sits, and sleepers all across the league. Live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, only from Heart of Ohio Sports.
My stomach is messed up.
The game's almost over. Can't you wait?
No, I gotta go right now.
Wow, really?
Swung on, hit to center, well hit. Back, and this one's gone! A home run for Connor
man.
Moyer on an 0-2
Needed
pitch.
that.
Smokes it to dead center. That's
Oh,
probably at least
man, are you
360.
kidding me?
It happens. Never miss a moment. Heart of Ohio Sports. Make sure to check out this week's edition of the Heart of Ohio Sports Observer by Josh Morgret on heartofohiosports.com.
Friday Nightcap. After the Friday night lights go out, we're here at the Command Center at the Heart of Ohio Sports Studio inside Studio Squared in Tiffin, Ohio. And man, the games have let out. The stands are emptied. And I got with me my man over there on the call, live in person at Frost Cow Stadium, the owner, Nate Mullins, joining me on the broadcast. Nate, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing right as rain, brother. I'm telling you what a ball game that was. And I'm telling you, can I just talk for just a minute about what a pleasure it was to sit next to Coach Gilbert on that broadcast?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Real quick, once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching the Friday Nightcap. It's a live react show, so there's no safety net, ladies and gentlemen. You're tired of your canned sports? Kick that can down the road and join us Friday nights here inside Studio Squared as Greg the Wizard Ken, Tommy Hall, bringing you all the sights and sounds from around the area and the clips from the Adrenaline Stream, from the X Stream, everywhere that Heart of Ohio Sports is live and on location. We're going to be bringing you everything that we can to get you all the updates from around Northwest Ohio. As Nate, I had the privilege of joining you last night in that opening game for the season. Thursday Night Lights, as the Leipzig Vikings able to dispatch the Calvert Senecas 43-3. And not the way that Coach Lento and those Calvert Senecas wanted to start the 2026 campaign. But I'm telling you, even though Calvert wasn't able to sustain drives, they did show some stuff between the 20s that tells me, hey, this Calvert squad, I mean, they were taking on a regional qualifier from last year. Now, that's not an excuse. You just got some clean up some things. But I'm interested to see where these Calvert Senecas pick themselves up after that 0-1 start over there at Horniman Stadium last night.
I'll tell you what, Tommy, I talking with my boy after that one, and he kind of said the same thing I did. A lot of it came down to little things. They weren't doing the little things right, and that's something that you can clean up. When it comes down to big mental lapses and big mistakes, you tend to eat yourself up for that stuff. But when it really came down to it, Tommy, there was a couple plays where, things could have went either way. You got to pick it up. You got to do the little things right. And I think that team is young. There's a lot of youth on that team. Yeah, they have some leadership, but they have some guys that are not used to being in those leadership roles. So everybody's got to get accustomed to each other. Everybody's got to gel. I like the chemistry on that team. They're going to have some winnable games on this schedule. They're going to have some tough games on this schedule. It's going to be important to see how they respond from this one.
Yeah, and again, it's just the luck of the draw. Unenviable task facing Tiffin Calvert yesterday in that defeat by Leipzig. But again, let's go back to tonight, the fallout from over there in Frost Cow Stadium. A little bit of familiar narrative going on from this game 1 year ago. Fast forward the clocks to another year. Rivalry game ending by a score in putting it in the hands of the official, so to speak, where a penalty brought this one into a heartbreaker. But Nate, you were starting to go in about it. You and legendary coach Steve Gilbert, on the call for that one. And again, what a broadcast that was. Wow. So if you missed it, you go ahead and check back, go on our YouTube page and watch all 48 minutes of that one. But if you don't like the ending, and you just kind of,
Hey, it is what it is. You can't do anything about it now at this point. You can look back, you can say, well, those two timeouts that got burned in the beginning of that third quarter and at the end of the third quarter, you want those back, and those are learning experiences for Coach Ryan Otney and that staff. obviously there's some things that they can look back at and say, if we'd have done this, or this right, we win this game. We probably win that game handily. They dominated the line of scrimmage in that game, Tommy. They really did. Up front, there wasn't anything that they couldn't do. They could run the ball. They were stopping the run. The problem is there's a couple big plays really got away from them. They had a special teams gaffe where, a punt returner mishandled the ball. They ended up turning the ball over inside the 40-yard line. Little Giants made short work of that. So a couple of gaffes, gave up a kick return touchdown, gave up a big touchdown as well. So there's some things that they can clean up. They've got some things that they can look at film and say, all right, if we do this differently, it would have a different result. But you got to be able to adjust and come through in those situations.
Yeah, and the one thing that stood out to me was that Colombian defense. They got a lot of pressure just by their front four. And again, you get this defense starting to click and gel, and they're able to limit opportunities for the other team, come up with turnovers. I mean, again, this one just fell to it could have went either way, especially when you get down into the red zone. It was a pretty clean game for week one, and then the penalty kind of is the deciding factor where Tiffin Colombian would turn the ball over. And man, I tell you what, that scene at Frost Cowdell Stadium kind of turned into a scene from Westeros as Coach Winters, that is, and Fremont Ross was coming for those gold helmet like Lannister tornadoes here at Frost Cowdell Stadium, and Tiffin Colombian just unable to answer the call, 22-21, and a heartbreaker, man.
I wonder if that's actually real. Is that game still going on? Is Perkins and St. Joe still playing right now? According to ScoreStream, it's in 2 overtimes. Perkins has a 44-41 lead over St. Joe's. That is Villa Angela St. Joseph out of Cleveland. Folks, that is a premier program. For Perkins to be hanging with them and keeping this close, and not only that, but 44 points on the board, Tommy. Perkins Pirates team, they don't rebuild over there. They just reload.
We have some juniors and seniors that actually bought into the program, some skilled positions transferring over this year for that Perkins squad, causing a little bit of heat there. But again, people want to go where you win, and over there in Sandusky County, football, that can be checked off as a religious affiliation.
Right.
As them Sandusky Perkins Pirates, they're the real deal, and you look for Coach Jalen Santoro to really see what he can do with that squad in this 2026 campaign.
Yeah.
We talk about unfinished stories.
Wow.
But speaking of unfinished stories, we were able to join the story 1 year ago. It ended at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium as we were on the call in the state championship for Hopewell Loudon, as they were unable to come away with that championship. But they returned 10 starters this year, and over on the X Stream, were you able to catch any of that one?
I caught bits and pieces. For the most part, we were locked into what we were doing there at Frost Cowdell Stadium, but I was keeping up with the score. Man, they were just hanging it on those Lake Flyers, man. 37-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
Wow. They're just picking up where they left off.
And another great broadcast to join the Chieftains on, as Dominic Helmstetter and Brendan Blott did a tremendous job putting lipstick on a pig in that one. As Hopewell Loudon coming out, making a statement, and joining the N10 conference. They started off the season against a bigger school, bigger opponent, as they look down the road through that N10 grinder. And I'm telling you, folks, the heart of this season, no pun intended, here on Heart of Ohio Sports, there's going to be some interesting tales to tell as we move on. As Kyle Holsinger, he was actually on the scene over in Maria Stein for Marion Local versus Calvert. Now, how did that one get drawn up? I haven't had a
those Blue Devils
yet, but
they hung tough. I'll tell you what, Tommy, it was 21-7 in the fourth quarter before Marion Local put a couple more scores on the end to take it away. But 34-7 was the final score. But those Blue Devils, boy, that's a team that I think a lot of people underestimate every year. And they just, for some reason, every year, Tommy, those first 4 games, they scheduled the meat grinder for those first 4 games because Jonathan Merschman wants his team to be tuned up and ready to go by conference play.
I was going to say, there's very few coaches around the area that you'd follow into a game against Marion Local, and Jonathan Merschman is one that I would definitely fly the banner of, as he said it in that in the pregame presser that was released earlier this week written by Kyle Holsinger, where they said, "Hey, we're still talking about that team that's coming off of a loss that hadn't lost a game since 2021." But he made a very nice point in that statement saying, "But we're not playing the 2021.
That's right.
Marion Local. We're not playing 2022, 23, 24, 25. We're playing this year's team." And again, there's it looks like those Cary Blue Devils took to it as again getting a shellacking, but they got a few good shots in that one and proved as a litmus test of what they could do against a high caliber team like Marion Local.
Did you guys get a chance to talk about that Seneca East game yet?
I have not.
So I guess the Tigers.
Where was that one at?
That was over in Gibsonburg.
Oh,
so I guess Tigers were down 20-6 in the second quarter. Gibsonburg was up early in that one. Tigers come back, end up winning the game, Tommy. Final score in that one was 44-26. So they were up 20-6, then they gave up 38 points and only scored 6 more. That's crazy. And to me, I've been trying to tell people all offseason, this Seneca East team is a team that I've got my eye on. They're going to sneak up on some people. I don't think they're going to sneak up on anybody after this. That Gibsonburg team was for real last year, Tommy. They put a lot of points on the board last year. They were right up there with Hopewell Loudon, with one of the top teams in the SBC River in terms of points scored. And
they had a great
team just hung with them.
Yeah, they had a great outlook, and I've seen some of the Heart of Ohio sports picture releases that you guys had from Media Day, and you had some of these jabronis in the comments who were like, "All that just to go 3 and 7," and it's like this Seneca East team again. All the teams in the N10, you're gonna have to pack a lunch, and it's when the dust settles and it's all said and done. When we get to week 10, it's gonna be an interesting scenario of matchups to see where everything kind of falls and lays at that time.
I got a little bit of an update from Brandon Robinson. Of course, his boy Branson is the starting quarterback for Seneca East. Gave me a little bit of an update on what exactly happened. Defense just shut him down in the second half. Ended up winning 44-26. Robinson, the new sophomore quarterback, taking over for Duck Parks, started out his debut 19 for 24, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Nice debut for the young signal caller. You also had a couple of touchdowns from Jaron Depinette as well in that one. But that Seneca East defense really came to play. And obviously, a big part of that, Jackson Gayhart, man, that kid. I love watching that kid play football.
Yeah, I definitely, I'll even have to maybe take a vacation day or somehow finagle my way onto one of those Seneca East calls over in Tiger Nation, because you know what I'm going to need. And that is the ribeye sandwich.
You're going to need me one of them ribeyes or a tiger dog,
I'm telling you what, I went to the couple county fairs in the summer, which is one of my joys. And one of my favorite things to do is go over to the trailers that have the fresh meat, the fresh burgers, the fresh ribeye sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
none of them touched.
not one of them touched.
No. I said the same thing to my wife at the fair. I'm like, I tried both the different booths at the fair. They don't even come close to the one at the Seneca East concession stand.
So those Seneca East Tigers, they're going to score some points on you. It's going to be an entertaining show. So even if you're not a Seneca East Tigers fan, the trip over just for the ribeye sandwich.
That's right. Well,
you're going to get some great football, and you're going to get yourself a nice ribeye. And I eat like 2 of them.
I'll tell you what, though. I get my trip over there next week. We're taking a trip over there for Seneca East as they take on Monroeville. Senior night is early for the Tigers this year. We'll take a trip over there for next week's game as they take on the Monroeville Eagles. Should be a good game.
Hey, did you guys happen to see that Bellevue score?
Yeah, it was 35-0 last time I saw.
Yeah, Bellevue 42, Clyde nothing. Yeah, wow.
Those Flyers they've had a rough couple of years. Last year was a down year, and that's not looking too good to start this one out.
Yeah, I have some of the scores from the area streaming across the top of this broadcast right now, and I was just checking them out, and I was like, whoa.
Battle Route 20 got ugly pretty quick there as Bellevue hopped out to an early lead and just poured it on from there. 42-0, but
Coach Gilbert had nothing but good things to say about that Bellevue coach, though, which surprised me. He's like, that guy's a good coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And so that's a team to keep an eye on. Any other results that you saw kind of stick out to you, Tommy? Obviously, we just got the final. That was final. Perkins with the win over St. John's 40 or St. Joe's 44-41. That's a huge way to start out the 2026 campaign for the Perkins Pirates. Wow.
Keep in mind too that Upper Sandusky got a huge win over Northmore, 30-21. That's always been a big tough game for Upper to start the year. So,
well, and then we talk about Margaretta over Mohawk. That's a big win. St. Paul got shut out by Port Clinton. Now, what do you think? Is that indicative of the Redskins having a solid squad this year, or do you think it's a down year for these Flyers? Because they lost their starting quarterback to the Perkins Pirates now, and I mean, how are they going to pick up the pieces?
I just think St. Paul's been in that state for the last couple of seasons where, again, one of those programs that never fall out of favor, but it's just been a rough going for those Flyers over the past couple of seasons. But week one isn't indicative of, again, it's not about where you start, it's where you finish.
That's right.
So, you dust yourself off and you prepare to go 1-1 next week.
That's all you can do at this point. Any other scores that stand out to you, Tommy?
No, I think here in our coverage area, we did a damn good job making sure that everybody knew what was going on and cherry picked the best games that we possibly could on the schedule. And man, they delivered, especially on that adrenaline stream, as Fremont Ross able to dispatch Tiffin Columbia once again in our inaugural broadcast of the 2026 campaign. But you talked about you're going to be with the adrenaline stream next week
over at Seneca East in Attica.
Seneca East, as they take on who again?
Monroeville. That'd be a great game. Yeah. It should be. Last year it was a great game. We'll see. Those Tigers, man.
Yeah,
they're rolling.
Just see the Monroeville game tonight. Not so close, but they had a tough opponent.
Yeah,
there.
Macomb's always tough, man. That's a tough opponent to start your season out with.
And then want to give a little love to Fostoria. Didn't win tonight, but
had
a close
the same
game.
Thing. Kept it close with Van Buren. 23-14 was the final. That you say what you want about Fostoria, but that was a tough season last year. 0-10. That's tough for any of those kids to want to come back and play again. And I mean, that's hard, Tommy, to overcome something like that. But Derek Angelone over there doing a great job with that staff. He's building something, and that's something. Sometimes you got to strip it down to the studs, and they're trying to build something sustainable over there. And like you said, Greg, hats off to Fostoria. And
I was going to say, I think that not only just lends itself in the football community, but just in the community in general, just how Fostoria.
We need Fostoria to be good.
Yeah, they're all. We need them to be good, and they've been taking strides, just not just on the field, but off the field.
Yeah,
program wise, you got great facilities, great coaches. So you look for Fostoria to, make a bounce back, and man, that's night and day difference from 1 year ago from the start.
How about those Woodmore Wildcats? 61 points. Now I don't know anything about New London. So I don't know, what kind of team they are, but 61 points for the Wildcats to start the season out. I mean, Coach Staker's got to be pretty pleased with that, you think, right? I mean, come on.
Now we went over where the adrenaline stream will be. Where can our fans find the X Stream next week?
Well, the X Stream will be taking the trip over to Mansfield Tiger Stadium, and they will follow the Columbian Tornadoes over there to see if they can pick up the first win in the Ryan Otney era. I'm excited. I love what I saw out of that Columbian team tonight. They fought. They were resilient. And Tommy, I'm telling you right now, they were the better team. They just didn't come away with the win tonight. Things happen. That special teams gaffe is going to hurt them. They've got to clean up special teams. They got to figure out a way to get that right. But when they can figure this thing out, this is a team that could catch some fire towards the end of the year, get a little bit of momentum. I mean, I'm not counting this Tornadoes team out at all. That's a tough team. They got a tough schedule ahead of them, but I mean,
and handing off.
I'm excited to see what this team looks like.
The program from Lutz to Otney.
Yeah,
that the non-conference schedule never is going to be light. It's always going to be a litmus test because Tiffin Columbia wants to show that it belongs and it's looking to make that next step as a program. And Coach Ryan Otney, he's already been a part of the program. It was a great hire by the school to have Coach Otney as the head coach. And again, that one just kind of slipped away from him.
Right.
But again, I thought what I watched from the Tornadoes was definitely something to watch out for down the stretch, as these Tornadoes, they're going to be back and they're going to be looking for that first dub on the road next week.
And that's going to be, I mean, that Mansfield Tigers team last year, put some points on them, Tommy. You know, like that's something that they might come into this one with a chip on their shoulder defensively, because they didn't want to give up that many points last year. That was a closer game than they wanted it to be. So maybe they take a little bit of chip from this game and from last year's performance, and they just hang a bunch of points on that Mansfield Tigers team. You never know what could happen, folks, but I'm excited to see what happens, because that Extreme, they're going to be over there covering that one. You'll have Dom Helmstetter over there with the crew. Coach Gilbert might make an appearance. I'm not holding him to it, though. If he wants to, he's more than welcome to come up during halftime, say a couple words. That's great. But if not, hey, if you can't make the trip, we'll see you next time when we come back on for another Columbian home game. Because, man,
he's secretly a Mansfield guy.
I'm telling you what, Tommy.
That's what he
I have never been big leagued in my career. Tonight I was big leagued. Coach had a way of, as soon as I was done saying something, he had insight, perspective, analysis on everything that they were doing on the field that I barely got my reads in. I barely got my sponsor reads in. I apologize to any sponsors who were watching and were like, what? You didn't do any of the stuff that well, Coach had me in a spell tonight, man.
Yeah, I was listening to a few things that he was pointing out. And again, not just about the X's and O's, but also about football as the game.
Man.
And I hear myself kind of parroting or echoing some of his teachings from when I was in the program, and from when I've talked to him over the years, and just getting to pick his brain when he was at Tiffin University and I was covering the Dragons for the paper. And just Coach Gilbert, again, you know what you're going to get when you talk to Coach Gilbert. He's going to give it to you straight. Yep. He's going to tell you what you like or don't want to hear, whether you like it or not.
That's right.
But man, what a tremendous call for you and Coach Gilbert. So it was definitely great to listen to, and affording me the chance to kind of see where the because again, we're over a decade on the call together.
14 years, brother.
It's going to take a Coach Gilbert to
it was new
in my stead.
It was new. And I'll tell you what, those were big shoes to fill, Tommy, because I was not used to having somebody as knowledgeable as you on staff with me. Like, typically, we're trying to train interns, and nothing against any of the guys we got on staff, but we're trying to give people opportunities here. We're trying to give people the experience that they need so they can become what we are now. And with Coach Gilbert, it was like, boy, I sat under the learning tree all night tonight, man.
Yeah, you could get lost in the sauce, as Gucci Man said. But Nate, again, I can't wait to continue watching Tiffin Columbian football with you and Coach Gilbert on those calls. And you can find those on our broadcast schedule. As Tiffin Columbian, we're going to continue to cover them. But this was the first episode of Friday Nightcap. It was raw.
It was raw. Trust me, folks. This was all raw, live.
No safety net.
Try to do a show live right after you just produced 2 games in the same night. I got to hand it to my crew. I got to hand it to Greg. I got to hand it to Tommy. You guys being here on top of your shit, having stuff ready to go. I just walked in here and talked on a microphone. It was nice. I didn't have to set anything up. I didn't have to breathe. It was awesome.
You definitely gave the show a shot in the arm too. So I was glad that you were able to come on, and we could talk football till the cows come home. But I think with that being said, might be time to kind of tip the cap on this nightcap.
It's about time for the nightcap myself.
Yeah, it's still time for me to get a nightcap. But that's neither here nor there. I want to take a moment again to thank you for affording me the opportunity and coming up with this scenario, this show concept, and the Wizard Greg Kinn for seeing out that vision and bringing it to life as he always does. So again, hopefully this is something that can gain some traction. It was definitely a fun setting, and it was definitely fun working on the fly. Almost felt like a journalist again.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to get some of you guys to pitch in here, folks. If you're watching along with us and you're out here at these games on Friday nights, and say you got an angle of a play that you're like, man, it's a great shot I got of this play, send it to us. send it to us, hoosbroadcasting@gmail.com. You can even send it as a message on Facebook, on Instagram, however you can get it to us. Just get it to us, folks. We want to show your plays live. We'll give you credit. We'll give you a tag. We'll throw you a shout out. We want to provide the platform that these athletes deserve. That's what this is all about. I love promoting these kids, but we need your help. If we're going to do this, if this is going to be as cool as I think it could be, then we need help from people out there. We need you guys pitching in. We need your replays. We need your highlights. We need recaps from people that are at games. If you want to call us, you're like, man, I got a story about this game I want to tell. I got to talk to somebody about it. Nobody wants to talk sports around me. Give us a call, folks. Let's do this.
Yeah, we plan on, again, rolling up our sleeves and doing some flexing as this season progresses. But I just want to, again, take a moment to thank you. I want to thank my producer, Greg the Wizard Kidden, for bringing us on the air for the first episode of Friday Nightcap. I want to thank you, the audience, for sticking around late on a Friday night after the games concluded and then joining me here on location in the command center at the Heart of Ohio Sports Center here at Studio Squared.
Well, thank you, brother, for coming in here and doing this, man. You did a great job. This is awesome. I love that you guys embraced this. You not only, when I tossed this idea out there, I was nervous because I was like, I don't know if they're going to even like this idea. You guys ran with this. The graphics look awesome. The ideas that you guys came up with on the fly. I mean, you guys pretty much planned all this without any of our help. So,
I mean, listen,
seriously,
we put this show together in a couple of days. So again,
this is how I was gonna say. This is how I see it right now, guys. You know how when you get a new video game and you're downloading it, and it's like, hey, it's ready to play, but it's not really all the way downloaded. You just get that little sample. That's what you're getting right now.
That's right.
The more interaction we get from folks at home, the better this is going to be.
100%, Greg. I couldn't have said it better myself.
All except Greg, he's putting out Cyberpunk 2077.
I don't put it out early.
More bugs than a fat bloodhound.
No leak from you, Greg?
No.
No leak. No, yeah. Yeah, that person is gonna get sent to an island.
Man. He's gonna send to the gulag.
Anyway,
yeah, that's it.
Again, we could continue this conversation off the air, but until then, I want to thank you for joining us here on Friday Nightcap. For Greg Kinn, for Nate Mullins, I'm Tommy Hall, and we'll catch you at next tailgate.